What's up, guys? Just a beautiful day out there. So this weekend we did go to Southern Carpet Fest, had a great time. I'm gonna show you some pictures from that. We had such a great time. Thanks Bill and Kim Stiegel for having us, as well as Evan Browder for putting it together. Carpet Fest is just kind of a group of people who are interested in, I guess, particularly carpet pythons, but not exactly. I mean, there was all types of green tree python people, ball python people. It's just open pretty much to any reptile people. Just a good event to meet some people in person that you may only know through Facebook. So it's nice to put faces to the name just on Facebook and, you know, talk with everyone, and it gives you a different perspective of the hobby rather than just, you know, people talking on Facebook. I think sometimes we can get too wrapped up in, you know, social media and groups like that, and there tends to be a lot of negativity that comes out on social media, so it's nice to get to talk to people face to face. If you are interested in hearing more about Southern Carpet Fest and more just about general things that we're talking about, we did do the podcast yesterday. We're doing it every Tuesday now at 5. The last 3 weeks we've been trying to do it at 5, but we've had all type of microphone problems. Even their mixer was messed up, so we actually got everything straightened out, and for the first time in a couple weeks, not only did we start at 5, but we also had all the microphones working and everything good, as well as we got the live streams down, so we're doing live on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook, so that's been going great. You know, we basically just have conversations with whoever's commenting, so if you're watching here right on YouTube, feel free to tune in Tuesday, hopefully at 5 o'clock, and give some comments, and we'll give a chat to you guys. Some people, you know, just ask general questions or just chime in on the conversation. Scott from Australia was on the live chat, so we were kind of talking about different things in Australia. So yeah, we just get into all types of stuff. So a weird little example of social media, I put up a picture of this guy, which is a 14-year-old amelanistic corn snake. You know, I was just saying, hey, this is my 14-year-old. Sometimes I interchange albino and amelanistic. Back in the day, corn snakes, we used to call amelanistics albinos, as well as for the anneries, people used to call them black albinos, which makes no sense, but they originally thought these were albinos, which means lacking all pigment. And there's definitely some other snakes out there that are albino that are definitely amelanistic and not actually albino, and we're still calling those albino, but I posted him up there and kind of got torn apart for calling it an albino. And then I was just kind of explaining, like, hey, sometimes I call him albino, sometimes I call him amel. Sorry, I know the correct term is going to be amel. And amel means lacking just black pigment. So there's going to be the reds and the yellow still in there, but there's going to be no black pigment. When albinism means lacking all pigment. People just get really aggressive when you're, you know, wrong about things. I don't think there's any problem with being wrong about anything. I mean, if you have any questions, just ask someone who's knowledgeable. It's better to ask directly someone than to go on Facebook and put it in a Facebook group, because you'll just get all types of crazy answers, as well as, you know, you may get the wrong answer. You get a whole mix of answers, you don't know who to trust, and then you're going to get everything from, you know, experienced keepers to new keepers who think they know exactly what to do. So I think it's much better to just get that one perspective from someone who's been successful at what you're trying to do and go from there. So yeah, you most certainly aren't always going to be right. There's so many particular things about each species of snake, about everything. You know, you're never gonna know everything. You gotta accept the fact that you know nothing. So you'll see some people who are first getting started who think they know everything, and then slowly you realize that you know nothing. So even if you are the foremost expert expert in one species doesn't necessarily mean that you know anything about, you know, snakes even in the same genus. I mean, they're so particular. People sometimes ask me stuff about, you know, venomous snakes or, you know, different pythons or boas that, you know, I haven't worked with, and I have no idea. I have no idea anything about them almost. But, you know, ball pythons, corn snakes, carpet pythons, you know, I may be able to help you out, but anything further than that, I don't want to talk about something that I only have a either small amount of experience with, something that I haven't reproduced. You know, with those things, I want to say this is the way I'm doing it. You know, it's worked for me. You can try it out, but here's someone who has been doing this for 20 years very successfully, and I think that's a much better place to get your information. And then, I mean, you can't underestimate the value of going out there. You know, there's so many podcasts, things like Morelia Python Radio, things like the old Reptile Radio episodes, which I believe are still up there, you know, and all the other reptile podcasts that are out. Definitely take those and, you know, absorb that information when they are interviewing, you know, very successful breeders. And then also, of course, books. So for instance, it may be easier to say, hey, I want to get this, you know, is there a podcast of them describing the ways to keep it, instead of maybe, you know, taking all the breeders' time. But, you know, so many people are just willing to help with that kind of stuff. So in the same vein as, you know, no one's an expert, I think once you get your husbandry down and maybe you've reproduced, I think, you know, there's always ways that we can improve the hobby and keeping reptiles. I think it's important that, you know, we don't accept things for how they are, but try to improve what we're doing. So I'm open to, as far as like mixing up the diet of my animals, that's what I'm trying to do. As far as carpet pythons, I may start feeding some chicks, maybe quails. And then for the hognose, I mean, they sell Reptile sausages, so they have sausages that have mixed up, you know, different animal proteins, whole prey. So for them, maybe frogs. These hognose in the wild don't eat rodents very readily, if at all. I mean, they're mostly feeding on toads. Therefore, I think there's probably something that we may be lacking in their diet. You know, toads are a very different prey source than mice are. Maybe, you know, there's something that they're not getting, or they're getting too much of when they're being fed mice. Hey guys, so you may notice it's a different day right now. I got a little distracted yesterday and ended up not finishing filming the video. Just wanted to explain, A, like why I haven't been putting out videos as much as I was previously. I mean, I'm still trying to put out at least 2 to 3 a week, but when I was putting out 5, it tended to be that I would have like 2 or 3 videos that weren't as high quality or more vlog style, and people just didn't seem as interested in. So I just want to make, you know, the best videos that I can. So when I only have 2 to 3 more well thought out videos a week, they tend to do better, and it tends to be better content. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show the video of a turtle I found on the road yesterday, and then we're gonna get right back to our regular scheduled programming. So like I was saying yesterday, I'm really interested in putting some variation in the diet of my animals. This king snake in the wild will eat mostly other reptiles as well as some rodents. And then in captivity, they'll eat anything from chicken to probably even eggs, or most certainly lizards, all types of snakes. They'll pretty much eat anything. So I think it's reasonable to consider, you know, varying up the diet quite a bit. There's not many snakes that are just going to eat rodents in the wild. You know, snakes are opportunistic feeders, so many of them enjoy a very varied diet in the wild. If you spent most of your time waiting around for things to come to you, I think you'd pretty much eat anything at that point as well. You know, I currently keep my corn snakes in rack systems, but in the wild, they're considered semi-arboreal, and you'll find them everywhere from under rocks to in the trees. And that's definitely how they find their prey, as far as they will eat anoles, they will even eat baby birds, as well as rodents. Anoles are found in great numbers in the range of corn snakes. That's why when you have babies in captivity, many may not take pinkies, so you may have to scent them with anoles or feed them anoles for a short period of time until you get them switched over to pinkies. If you think about it, in the wild, it's probably pretty rare for them to come across pinkies. So I've done my best to provide them some type of, you know, arboreal stuff too. So I've tried my best to, even in a tub, provide some type of enrichment as far as their arboreal nature goes. So the egg crates definitely create good pockets for them to hide under. Some prefer to hide under them, and there's also some who prefer to be on top of them. If you give corn snakes enough room, I mean, they'll pretty much do anything, and they'll explore every corner of, you know, everything that you put in there. Unlike many python species that want, you know, small caging or make it uncomfortable when their enclosure's too big, corn snakes don't seem to mind. That's why I find they're such good pets, because they don't really care about their caging as long as you have the proper temperature and good humidity, they'll do just fine. It's pretty difficult because obviously snakes don't talk. So most often we use the fact that they're eating and they're breeding as a sign of a healthy animal and us keeping them correctly. Maybe there's some things that we have left out, who knows? I think we need to keep on striving to improve our keeping methods more and more. That being said, I mean, snakes have obviously very small brains made for just worrying about security, you know, to keep from being preyed upon, as well as just eating. So it's kind of an on-off switch between those two. It's hard to say if a snake can be happy or unhappy. That being said, I think we need to keep on pushing the boundaries in herpeticulture. You know, don't just accept the status quo. You know, just don't accept the status quo that's going on right now. You know, maybe there's ways that we can improve it. And I personally want to keep on pushing those boundaries and seeing how I can improve these things for myself. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe. And if you made it this far, you're on the team.